any crime or for the safety of the stevedores or everybody working within the facilities here. So that's mainly it. I have, if you have any question, you know.
So you're the one that gives biosafety as well for the laborers?
Yeah.
Like say, for example, casts, gloves, signals.
Yeah.
The port provides all the safety equipment, and one of their duties is to say that the stevedores have them on at all times. Because it's difficult. We give them the hard hats, we give them the vests. Now that we are doing loading at sea, we give them life jackets, and these guys put it on when they come through the gate. When they get on the boat, they take it off.
Oh, I know that.
Right?
I know that.
So
when we implement it, we try to keep it consistent, you know.
In fact,
just for the safety of them.
The security has instruction that, listen, if any of the guys don't have on their safety gear, I want you to take them out of the port. And so it's a difficult thing dealing with stevedores.
Very difficult. You have to coerce somehow, whether it's by their salaries or by disciplinarian.
The security go through a lot because they're the one that implemented it.
Exactly.
You know, but the thing is that every day you have to keep doing it.
So do you measure sound in luminescence or nothing like that?
It's not like that.
To make sure that there's not enough,
Yeah.
air pollution for them? No? Just the normal
that would drop under the responsibility of the port facility.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Mr. Lunsford, do you have any training regarding hazardous material? Handling hazardous material?
Training with
Handling things.
yeah. We like I said, we have training with we have an instructor that comes in and train all the officers, and I work along with them also.
You see, we also have an agrochemical and fertilizer section of our company. So we import a lot of agrochemicals and fertilizers through the port. Right? So these guys are the ones that watch that they are handled properly. If they see something that's not right, they will call him as a supervisor immediately, and then he calls me, and then we will correct it from there.
We got some training from B and E also with the different type of crude oil that they have there. So it means that they inform the officers what to do, you know, because they have a sensor. They have sensor also over there that tells you whenever it's up, whenever it's normal.
You see, P&A is exporting two types of crude oil. One from the original location, which is Iguana Trip. That's a good quality crude oil. There also have some wells that never delay, which has a high sulfur content. They separate them by tanks, and when they are storing that type of crude, they advise everyone. They have a system of flags that they set up so that everyone knows about the wind. And we advise all the community here. In fact, we give out pamphlets, instructing them when they see a green flag, what that signifies. And
that's a policy.
That's a policy, because remember, we do have some residents here.
And what kind of coordination have we got, for example, implementing some activities?
Well, I guess they would be dead by the time we advise them. They live right beside the tank facility.
I guess we won't go to that. We're not getting no response because we already.
With Baja, I assume you got the pamphlet when you say green flag, you know what it means, and so on. So they are aware of the situation.
Is it there because there's a sulfur fume or what?
From
the crude?
The sulfur content is higher
than
the other crude oil.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other question?
And one of the advantages we have is that the wind is always blowing that way.
Southwest. Southeast.
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 That's true. I
So-
saw the pine trees curved that way.
Yeah.
On the way.
Only when we have a cold front, then we have a
Change.
change in wind direction.
Mhm.
But also 90% of the year,
Yeah.
it's southeast. So, and on that side, there's practically nobody living, and the only thing there is a shrimp farm.
But that's a sea activity, it's not an airborne facility.
It's an airborne facility, so the only thing that goes in that direction is the potential shrimp farm and their offices,
What
and they have a
administrative?
processing plant,
Okay.
but you don't have residents in that area.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lunsford. Yeah. Now we're supposed to have Bernardo Martinez, Shipping and Operation Management Challenge.
That's all?
Yeah, the boss knows everything.
In regards to shipping activities, one of the biggest challenges we have had has been this year, when we had to start loading a vessel at Anchorage instead of at the port. In fact, the first week, which was the first or the second? January.
First.
The 1st of January, we had the first vessel, and we had some adverse weather conditions. We had a cold front coming in, and it was very windy and rough. And when the vessel came to anchor, she stayed in position. However, when the barges and tugs and the containers came alongside her, because of the wind pressure, the vessel started moving. And we decided to abort the operation and then move the vessel to Santo Tomas and barge the cargo to Santo Tomas. And that was our first experience, and one of the positive things that came out of that was that we had all the personnel from Morris, from Fives here, so they could see what the operation entails. No? And from that we made plans and counter plans about the loading in regards to safety for the stevedores and the tugs and crew, and that was a positive side of it, even though we couldn't load the cargo. And the second week everything went well up to today. In fact, we have loaded in that type of weather, and I think even the captain of the vessels learned that if they drop a few more shackles of chain, the vessel would stay. No? And if we load, and if we tie the barge in a certain position, they will in fact won't affect the barge. So we gain a lot of knowledge out of that, and the operations have been going smooth so far. For the stevedores, it was a new experience in that these vessels are Panamax vessels. They
Yeah,
are,
like the one we use in Puerto Rico.
yeah, and they are 5 container height. So when they are on top of the vessel with 5 containers above deck, you have more wind. So they have to make sure that they are aware of their surroundings and see that everything is going fine. Well, not like when they are alongside the board. With the vessels coming before, we didn't have that situation. There were smaller vessels, and the highest they ever went was 3 containers high on deck. So that was one of our biggest challenges. Beside that, as I mentioned before, we import fertilizers. We bring it we load in Puerto Barrios in Guatemala, and we load break bulk on the barge. Covered with tarp. You have pallets on deck, the fertilizer on top, and then tarp on top. And that is very intensive in labor force in regards to hours of loading and discharge. and I have been pushing to move that into a containerized system because we had previously just constructed a barge that could move 50 40-foot containers, and the idea was that we would use and we also bought some containers for the port, and we would use those containers to move the fertilizer, which would be a very fast operation. And for example, we loaded like 33,000 sacks, 50 kilo sacks on the barge in Puerto Barrios. It took about 48 hours. So, more. I would say average 48 hours, weather permitting, and that's too long an operation not to be alongside the work. Especially barrels that's designed, it's a finger pair designed for fresh fruit. And in Santo Tomas, we could load the 50 containers in 2 hours. We could go in 2 hours and come back out without any problem. Here, we would take about 4 hours to discharge the containers, compared to 48 hours using like 30 people. Using about 30 people. So those two things were the biggest challenges for us in the shipping operation, and we still have not gotten the containerized movement going because of some logistics situation in Santo Tomas. One of the things that we have to acquire a yard where we could store the containers when they go into Guatemala, so that we could stock them there. And that's where we are negotiating presently. Because the idea is to have a direct delivery to the port. We take the containers, take them out of the port, stock them, bring them direct back to the port, and we are out. Otherwise, your port charges go through the sky. So, any questions?
Doctor? No?
Again, you don't have inspectors when we do that, do you?
It's still fertilizer? Yes, in Guatemala, we buy fertilizer from the Sagro in Guatemala. In Puerto Barrios, they have their plant, and in their yard, they have a bonded yard. They have customs there. So the idea was that custom would be inspecting it at the time we load them and seal it. That will still not stop when it's going into the port, that custom would pull it aside and still look at it, but it would minimize that situation. And I met with customs in Guatemala, in Santo Tomas actually, and we decided that when they have to pull a container over, if they would work on it immediately to minimize any delays for the barge, because the idea that we want to set up is that all the cargo is in the port when the barge is there, and it's only 50 containers. So what we wanted is that they come straight to the barge, load, and the empties just would come off, go into the port, and then move out of the port the following day. And here, of course, we have customs that check it to make sure it's really fertilizer and not anything else. and Baja, which is the authority to make sure that everything is properly registered and yeah, final.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Courier. Now, once again, we have Mr. Lopez from Cocatran with an alert for the International Oil Pollution Compensation Funds. Please. Do you need any help with them?
No. How are you feeling? Good. That's lunch. I feel like going to the beach right now. Placencia, that's right. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep you awake. So do I. Alright. So we're gonna talk about a little bit about convention on response, cooperation, and national oil pollution compensation funds. Too long. Too long. Well, this one convention is longer than that. We'll see. Well, as you know, the IMO has like a framework to prevent pollution, disease. We have conventions on prevention of pollution, response once we have a spill, and we have responsibility and liability. So we have in prevention, we have MARPOL. Yeah, you all know that MARPOL, Belize has approved all convention. Will be 5 conventions we have. MARPOL. I believe you are not ratifying prevention, London Convention, ballast water, and oil. That's pending. And you are not on the OPRC either. So we are not prepared to respond to an oil spill, tier 3 spill right now, so today. And you don't have national contingency plan either. So we are not doing good. And now, afterward, we want to look into the connection of the OPRC or national contingency plan and the liability or compensation funds. Okay, we have the CLC, the fund, and the bunker. That's all are the 3 maritime conventions on responsibility and liability. Okay, why do we need a compensation fund regime? Because it provides the victims compensation for oil pollution damage resulting from spills of persistent oil from tankers. It supplies a friendly agreement. You don't have to go to court to fight compensation. And by the way, the fund has a lot of funds, plenty of funds to compensate.
So the people from Brazil, did the people from Brazil get compensation from there?
From who? From Brazil.
The people from Brazil.
From Brazil?
The Amazon people from Brazil sued. They had to sue for compensation. I think they did.
What do you mean?
Same like the spill, there was an spill there, and what other happened?
Well, I don't know about that. I have to look if the Brazil has ratified the, I don't know about the, we don't see Brazil in Copa Trans, but I can look right now, I got a table there, I can look at it. So you don't have to go to court to compensate for damage. And this is uniform in the way that everybody gets equal treatment when you claim for damage. That's a good thing about it. Now, the fund regime is composed by the CLC, which is the Civil Liability for Oil Pollution, and the International Oil Pollution Compensation Fund, known as Fund 1971. Those are the basic conventions, the old regimes, the 1969 CLC and the 1971 fund. But as time went by, the cost of damages were increasing. So they have to create a new regime. So right now we have the CLC 1992 and the Fund Convention 1992 in order to provide more funds compensate for damage. Then, after that, after the prestige, Erica, then damages were increasing, so they created the 2003 protocol, which created a supplementary fund. So right now, as of today, we have how many? Three. Present, actual regimes. So, when does it apply the CLC 92, or pollution damage? Spill of persistent oil from tanker, oil as cargo. Okay? Applies to all seagoing vessels actually carrying oil bulk as cargo. That's what it said. It covers territorial waters, exclusive economic zones or equivalent, preventive actions taken after the spill. So, if you have a spill on the coast and you prepare the beach in order to prevent pollution, it covers that coast too, even though the actual oil spill didn't go to the beach. Because that was a preventive action. It covered that too. Or danger or threat to the environment. Also covers mysterious spills. You don't know where the spill comes from. Covers that too. You see, the fund is designed just to pay to the victims. You see the difference between this fund and an insurance company. Insurance company tries not to pay. When here is the contrary. They want to pay the victims. Because why? Why do they want to pay? Because they have money for that. A lot of money for that. Listen, this is the Article 1.6 on the Convention. No? Damages. Loss or damage caused outside the ship carrying oil by contamination, resulting from the escape or discharge of oil from the ship, wherever such escape or discharge may occur, and includes the cost of preventive measures and further loss or damage caused by oil. So we're well covered by that. And this is how the total complete regimes functions. You first have the first level, which is the CLC 92. No, the source of funds comes from the owner of the ship, which is legally responsible for the spill. And who pays? The insurance or P&I clubs. They pay. If the damage is over this liability right here, you go to the second level, Fund 1992, which is a funds coming from receptors of oil from state members of Fund 92.
I don't understand that. Fundraising by receptors of state
The source of funds, yeah. You have an institution which collects like a fee. Every country has a fee, but who pays that fee? It's not paid by the government. It's not paid by the consumer. It's paid by the people who import the oil, the owners of the oil in the country.
Okay.
Now, how much does it cost? So it costs a lot. Because you see, we made an example from Costa Rica. Costa Rica is not a member of any fund. But if they were a member of fund or CLC, they would have to pay like $35,000 a year. And you will see now the benefits later on. And then, if the fund doesn't have enough money to cover the damages, you then invoke the third level, which is the supplementary fund.
And who assesses the level? I mean, you know the level, but then you verify it. Who verifies it?
There is
For the fund.
an institution in London which administers the fund. It's called in Spanish FIDAC. In English is International IOS institution who administer all those funds. Supplementary fund in the third level, pays to the victims. Now the first level, how it works, CLC 92. What they do is that they channel the ability to the registered owner of the ship. That's it. It's not required to prove owner's fault. It's not like a court law that you have to prove
That is his
your
fault.
fault. No. If the fault is implied, it's tacit, the owner. And there are very few exceptions to that. And there is a limit of liability based on the gross registered tonnage, and the owners are required to have a liability insurance for damages. That's on the CLC 92, which is paid by P&I clubs, okay, in London. And this is the limit of liability to the owners, no, less than 5,000 tons, or let's say over 140,000 tons. You got covered up to $140 million for damages, which is a lot of money. But it's not enough if it's a big oil spill. Then we go to the second level. Takes effect when compensation on first level or CLC is insufficient. No? And when owner is exempt according to CLC 92, then you invoke from 92. Okay, does not apply damages produced in a non-member state. So if the country is not a member, you cannot benefit from this. Maximum compensation, 203 million, that's called special drawing rights, which is like more like $300 million. When the owner is financially insolvent, and when damages caused by an act of war or coming from a warship does not apply, just for merchant ships. Okay? And this Fund 92 creates the IOPC fund. This is the institution which administers these funds in London. Applies when damages are owner's liability. Does not apply when the victim cannot prove that the spill came from a ship. Now, and that's important of the national contingency plans. One of the main elements of a national contingency plan is that you have to have a teamwork to collect data and to collect all the evidence that the spill came from a vessel. So you have to have a teamwork, you have to have a couple of lawyers, accountants, everything, just to make sure that you collect all the information, pictures, videos, ¿cómo se llama? Waterproof. You have to take samples of the water, sample of the oil on the ship too. So all that should be planned in advance in a national contingency plan. Then, if the second level is not enough, you invoke the third level, which is the supplementary fund. It's a protocol which entered into force in 2005, and it got a maximum compensation of almost $1.2 billion of compensation. Includes amounts paid by the CLC 92, this $1.2 billion. And just the same, The funds come from oil receptor on each state member, which ratify the supplementary protocol. And this is how you look. It looks the difference between the three levels. You see CLC right here, Fund 92 right here, and the supplementary fund right here. It's a big difference.
Mr. Lopez, how will the FIDAC ensure that the country uses the money to pay the victims or to restore the ecosystem?
They pay directly to the victim.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Yeah. They pay directly. Because you see, the victims, they have to file a form directly to IOPC. Now, there are limits to claim a file. You have up to 3 years to claim damages. And you can have up to 6 years if between the 3 and 6 years you claim in a court of law damages. Okay? But most people should do this. Claim a file within 3 years of the spill. And most claims are paid within a 3-year period without the need of going to a court of law. This is some important events that has occurred. Let's say the Prestige in Spain, up to date, they have paid 98 million pounds. Japan, 142. Air Spirit in Korea, they have an estimate pay of 164 pounds.
That's a one deal pay.
No.
It is deferred.
Yeah, it's deferred because so it's like a accurate payments.
Yes.
Because some of these payments are done with future payments of the countries. Okay?
So the Prestige received already 98.
Well, not the Prestige, the victims.
Yeah, the victims
of
of
the
the Prestige, so they received 98.
To this day.
But it's more, of course. Yeah?
Yeah, 2002.
Right.
But I believe they should be, it shouldn't be increasing that much right now. That's like 10 years ago.
And Heaven Spirit?
Heaven Spirit, they're still receiving claims. Yeah. So they estimated 164 million. So they have a lot of money. No?
Yep.
This is amount paid so far. So if you add up all of this, it's almost more than $500 million. Now, financing of this fund comes from like 90% of the fundraising comes from 10 countries.
That's it.
That's it, 10 countries.
Those are the main
90% of the fund is from 10 countries.
Or crude traffic.
US, China, Japan, Germany.
Crazy.
Yeah. So Central America countries doesn't have to pay that much. Look at example, Costa Rica would pay like $40,000 for a 1.2 billion benefit.
That's
Number of claimants or victims. Heaven Spirit, 127 victims. More than the Prestige. Even though this Prestige, we heard a lot about this spill. That's how the world is covered with the compensation funds.
What are the great parts? Have none?
No? The US has its own compensation fund. They don't need
Africa
this.
as well. It just simply doesn't have any.
Doesn't have any. And you see where is Central America?
Is that Brazil? No.
With the 37 states, CLC 69 is not in force anymore. The 69 fund doesn't have any fund. So it doesn't do any good to be on the
Still
CLC
purple.
69, where most of the Central American countries are in this
All
fund.
of Central America.
69.
All of Central
That's why this color.
All of it.
All of
Almost all of it.
No. You're not. You're in CL 92. CLC 92.
92. Most of Central American countries
And
are
the Fund 92 as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Then we also have the bunker convention, which is ships that are not included in the CLC and fund. It was created because there was a legal vacuum in those vessels, and it was created because of this. The national regimes doesn't have the way to pay for damages. So they have to create this bunker 01, which is for ships, for bunker, as a, not as cargo, but as a means of transportation for the vessel. And this convention doesn't have any protocol. Those are just the basic convention. They work in one level. It's very similar to the CLC also. And it has been in effect since the year 2008. All maritime ships, excluded, of course, the warships, territorial waters, exclusive economic zones, just the same as the CLC. And the damages also, damage caused outside the ship carrying. This is the other. This is the HMS, the short name. It covers for liability and compensation for damages in connection with hazardous and noxious substances by sea. But this convention right here is not into force yet because there are too many vacuum. What is a hazardous and noxious substance? It's not a definition, because you see, if you have a spill, let's say from cooking oil into the sea, is hazardous or not? Is noxious or not? Could be.
It's not hazardous.
It depends.
Noxious, I guess.
Noxious. Could be noxious. So, for that reason, the experts are still defining a way to implement this convention. Now, how's Belize? Well, obviously, Belize denounced 69 because it doesn't have any fund. So, Belize has CLC protocol 76 and 92, fund 92, and bunker 2001. The only one missing is the protocol 02, which is a decision or an analysis Belize have to make. Do you feel we're covered enough with those two? We should go about and go into the protocol 2003. Well, you have a table of the benefits of the protocol 2003. It goes to $1.1 billion. If I said it's something the country have to discuss. You have many natural resources on the sea. Okay, how much were the damages for the Western Heaven?
That was 69 million.
$69 million.
I think.
Yeah.
And they won.
Who won?
You won, Belize.
Belize?
Belize won in court. Yeah, the sentence is positive for Belize. Already, in May.
But that was not a oil spill. That was another kind
That was
of
a grounding.
grounding. Yeah, it's not covered by this.
No, that's true. That's
Yeah.
not the same thing.
This will be in case of oil spill.
Yeah.
So that's a decision. That's something the countries need to discuss, whether you feel you are well covered by the actual maritime conventions, or do you need to go into the 2008 protocol. So that's it. So
Question.
You give me fast sleep.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That was tough.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you to you, Mr. Professor.
All right.
No question then? Okay. So next topic is summary, conclusion, and recommendation. And I recommend Mr. Carrillo and Mr. Munoz discuss this topic. I will prepare a draft, okay, concerning this conclusion. For example, to continue supporting the regional stakeholder network, okay, to support development objective and priority action of the strategic action plan, okay. And so I will present you the next week, Monday, and then you send it by email to the audience. Okay. All right. Now,
Demetrio, shouldn't we promote the discussion of the country of the benefit of getting into the bunker,
No,
the
the
fund,
three.
the supplementary fund? That's a decision that the country
who
should
will
make.
decide it? The government.
Well, the state, the country,
Okay.
through the maritime authority.
Normally, all the conventions are signed by the government, and they appoint like Belize Port. In Belize, it's Belize Port Authority. That's the authority.
Maritime.
Yeah, the maritime authority that the government of Belize charged. That is tasked with that business. No? So normally it's the Port Commission along with the Minister of Transport that will deal with that issue, and in the end it's government that makes a decision.
Yeah, but okay, I understand. You don't make the decision here, but it's to make a recommendation
To discuss
to
the point
to discuss it.
during the meeting
Okay,
they have
do we
with
feel
government.
as a country we are covered with that, or we really need to go into the other level, the third level?
Okay.
So that's a decision, just to discuss it, you know? Just like a recommendation. No?
That's up to you.
The recommendation is not to go ahead and do it, just to think about it.
Okay, what do you think about it?
No, it's good because as port operators, we need to recommend to government what suits the country and us as operators. No? But that doesn't mean that government will agree with us, right? Because in the end, if there's any financial attachments to it, that's one of the biggest problems we run into with government.
Yeah. Okay. One more comment or input? All right, movement. Closing remark. Please, Mr. Correa.
Before you finish, don't forget if you could just take a few minutes to fill up the questionnaire. I will send it by email anyways, but if you please, some comments on port operations, please. I would appreciate it.
Mr. Munoz, please.
Why don't we give the opportunity to fill them out right away, give some minutes, we can take it with us, and we are going to leave some of them, empty ones, with Mr. Carrillo, and kindly ask him to send them out to those people who were supposed to be here but didn't show up for some reason.
Yeah.
Together with the rest of the documents that we brought with us.
Okay.
Okay, if you have the electronic format,
Yes,
please
I do.
give it to
I
Ms.
will.
If you put in
Martinez Cornelia, and he will send it to your.
Perfect,
Yeah, right.
perfect.
I'll give you a card so that you could just email it to us.
Yeah, I have your emails in
Oh,
the
you have it?
list.
Okay.
Yeah, I will send it to you all, don't worry. But I would like some of you, if you can, by hand, and maybe the hard copies with the materials that are gonna be distributed for the people that didn't come. So you don't see it. Oh, you don't have it? Let me find the list. Tiene usted la lista de así que él no ha firmado. Hay que... Dice que ponga su email, préstame su bollo. Ahí póngale. Dos copias, así. Did you sign this? Go ahead. No. Okay.
Pero una breve por aquí.
Everybody signed the participation list?
Yeah.
And that email there? Samantha, did you sign?
Yes, I already signed it.
Do me a favor, give me a copy of the package.
One time.
Any, I'll get it, whatever you want.
What do you mean by participant?
No, it's your name, but that's okay. Don't worry about the participants, I know I have the list. Something you don't know, just don't answer, okay? Thank you.
Okay, you show me how to do it.
Any, there's no one. Oil, good oil, and chemicals, and sewage, and flash.
You don't have any.
Perfect.
I don't
Is
see
it even
anything.
trash?
Even when we clean the port, from the inception, we ask that all the sand, everything is sweet. And then it's picked up.
Please specify that. That's an environmental measure, and it's a picture. Can I question if you give me some cost?